Good day, everyone across North America. This is John Garmendi with Sony's Professional Solutions. Thank you for joining us in another of our Tech Tuesday webinars. These webinars were begun in response to the COVID crisis so that you, our customers, channel partners, integrators, and consultants can stay up to date on Sony's products and solutions. Today's webinar will focus on a new product introduction. Actually, today's webinar is the first in a series, 3-week series of new product introductions. And today's will focus on the introduction of 2 new projectors, the VPL CWZ10 and the VPL PHZ12, both of which I'm proud to announce were recently named Best of Show in Projector Central's Projection Expo 2020. Couple of points of housekeeping. Questions, as always, we encourage you to submit questions. Please do so via the question panel. Throughout the webinar, I will post links to in the chat panel to information referenced during the webinar. I will also post a link to our archived Tech Tuesday webinar playlist channel on YouTube. And please continue to provide us with your feedback or requests for future topics. Again, these webinars are in response to your needs and your desires to hear about Sony's new products and solutions. So joining me today as our main presenter is Bob Manis, our sales support engineer for the Southern United States, along with Drew Buttress, our product manager for both projectors and our PTZ cameras. And with that, I'll turn it over to Bob, and I will see you at the end for Q&A.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning. Today, we're going to talk about the couple of new projectors that we just recently introduced, the VPL PHZ12 and the VPL CWZ10. They are now currently shipping, as I found out earlier this week. A couple of things that kind of unique to one or both models. One of them has emulation. They both have intelligent settings, and then some other information that I'd like to share with you that we have currently and have ongoing. So I always have to give this snapshot. I love this slide. You know, we can cover anywhere from 13,000 to 5,000 lumens in different models. You know, this is kind of a brag chart. You know, we started making LCD projectors in 2013. We first 3 LCD projector with the VPL FHZ55. We're now up to generation 7, and with generation 7, we've improved the optical block as well as the LCD panels, which I'll talk about in a little more detail here in a little bit. Today's focus is going to be the VPL PHZ12, which is 5000 WXGA, which incorporates the intelligent settings, and the new VPL CWZ10, which is 5000 WXGA, kind of a compact entry-level, kind of a K-12 model, if you will, but makes an amazing picture. So moving on to the VPL PHZ12, this is what it looks like. If you're familiar with our Z10 model, they're physically identical, but there's quite a few improvements. First off, you know, some of the key features, of course, 3 LCD. We're continuing to use reality creation in this projector, which we've done for quite a while now. Has built-in audio out. It de-embeds the HDMI. It does support emulation mode, self-cleaning filters, intelligent settings. It also has auto calibration about every 500 hours. It actually goes and runs its internal maintenance and sets the parameters back to where it was out of the factory. And then, of course, we've got horizontal vertical lens shift with this as well. This does have a fixed lens, so there's no optional lenses, but the lens is pretty wide on this one. Of course, I love this slide, the 3 LCDs. Bottom line is we have 3 constant channels of red, green, and blue always, which makes, as far as picture reproduction, it does quite a very, very good job, and I'd be happy to put it up against any other manufacturer, which I've done in the past. This is probably the biggest improvement for the PH-Z12 over the Z10. New panel, like I had mentioned, for better contrast, improved contrast. It does support intelligence settings. We support Extron XTP support now. And we have a dedicated RJ45 for both HD-Base-T and control, which we did not have in the Z10. Very, very pleased to see that. The intelligence settings, which I had mentioned, there are 3 different modes within this projector. First one being classroom, meeting room kind of applications, where what it does is it increases the brightness because typically the ambient light has a tendency to be somewhat blown out. Then museum, where it doesn't need to be quite as bright because it's more in controlled lighting, but it's also very quiet. And then amusement parks, where they want a lot of chroma, or a lot of color, vivid color. So these are things that are presets in the projector. You can also go in and make your own settings if you choose to, but I played with these, and out of the box they look pretty darn good. Just a simple, over on the right side here, just showing turn intelligence settings on. You can figure out which mode you want in the case of the sub menu, and then you say okay, fine. And then that's really all you have to do, and you're off and running. This is the back of the VPL PH-Z12. It's just the different I/O panel from the Z10. Kind of wanted to point that out. And then again, we've added the Extron XTP certification for this projector, which is new to this model. We continue to have reality creation, which it actually analyzes the input signal, runs it through a proprietary algorithm within the projector, and then duplicates the input to where the output would be. So basically, what you start out with is what you actually end up displaying on the screen. And it does a really, really good job. You see detail compared to other manufacturers where you wouldn't see them. And again, different manufacturers, I've done a lot of shootouts to comparing the 2 models, or comparing different models in this feature within it. We also have contrast enhancer. This image on the left side, kind of a standard image, very dark, washed out where the house is. We actually kick up the areas of the brightness to bring in more detail, so you can actually see a better image instead of it being completely washed out. Something a lot of people are not aware of, and I run into this from time to time, but there are actually 2 sets of mounting holes on the bottom of the VPL PH-Z12. So if you were replacing a traditional offset lens projector, you can mount it in the middle as indicated here on the left. If you're replacing a projector that had a center mount lens, you can mount it to the left as indicated here, and it would put the lens where the original projector was. So you don't have to move the mounting poles or any of that. So it makes very, very easy to swap out different projectors without having to move a lot of hardware. The new panel with built-in optical compensator. The top line kind of indicates the light path, and we got polarizers, LCD panels. What we've done here in this section in the center is we've actually incorporated the compensator and the LCD panel into one unit, as indicated down here. So what that does is that gives you much better contrast now, kind of indicated over here on the right in this particular simulation. I've done a lot of playing with this, especially with some of the a little bit higher, brighter projectors, and it does make quite a difference. Just a sample, I talked about emulation a little bit. This is just a sample of the items that you can control depending on the manufacturer you're replacing. And what you do is you set up in the menu of the projector, indicate which model you're replacing. You set up the control, the serial communications, and then these are some of the items that you can control. There's about 3 different pages. I just wanted to give you an idea of some of the items that you can control right out of the box with actually very minimal setup. Moving on, introducing the VPL CWZ10. It's a small compact projector. It is 5,000 lumens. It's kind of the front and back of what it looks like. It has 2 HDMI inputs, a 15-pin RGB, and then it has Ethernet for control, Crestron Connect. So, and it also has audio. Next page, here we go. 5,000 lumens. It is, kind of an entry level. It is an entry level laser, really targeted for the K-12 market. It is an affordable option to migrate from some of the lower cost lamp-based to lasers. It does have intelligent settings, however, very similar to the VPL PHZ12. This also has built-in audio, Crestron Connect support, as well as 232 for control. And it has pretty wide lensing on it. Just to keep in mind, this unit does not have any horizontal or vertical lens shifts, so you kind of have to be careful where you install this. Like I mentioned, intelligent settings, same as the VPL PHZ12. The same different modes of classroom, higher brightness, museum, a little bit darker image, but it's in more of a quiet mode. Amusement parks where you have vivid color or more chroma, depending on what you're doing. And you set it up the same way. The menu looks identical. Now, the VPL CWZ10 is a WXGA unit, just to let you know. However, we have incorporated some really, really good scan conversion, and I've tested this with different resolutions, and it is not your typical WXGA projector, I will tell you that. So in this example here, we're taking full HD or 1920 1080, and we're feeding it to the projector. It's doing scan conversion, but outputting it at WXGA. Versus the example up here where this is more native WXGA. As you can see, there's a lot of detail missing on the top picture where you can see down at the bottom part of the picture. So, the whole idea is we can display a wider range area. And what we're doing is that the projector is actually sensing EDID content from the laptop or the PC and converting it to the resolution that's being sent. So, and the whole idea is it's a bridge model, and it's a good bridge between HD lamp projectors versus laser. Cost of ownership versus lamp is, as everybody knows, you got to change lamps a lot, especially in the K-12 market. They don't have the staff to deal with that kind of stuff. So now these kind of problems just completely go away. And they just kind of give you a rundown as an example, kind of market price, street price, if you will, for the Z10 versus the VPL PHZ10 versus the CWZ10. And then, brand X, which is a lamp-based projector. It makes it very, very easy and cost-effective to transition up just for a few $100s. And these are kind of some examples, and these are some screenshots that were done to kind of represent what's going on here. So, of course, benefit one, the projector can display a wide range of detail. So this is kind of if you will, a native 1920 by 1080 image at roughly at 70%. So, of course, there's a lot going on here, a lot of detail. You want to be able to read the numbers, you want to be able to see the graphs, and you want to be able to see all the charts. So step two, in the case of typical WXGA being down converted to 1920 1080, there's a lot of information being missed here compared to the previous slide. So if we go to this next one, I missed something here. Okay, yeah. So what we're able to do is we're taking the 1920 1080 image and we're able to display and get all the detail in a WXGA window. like this. This is the clean one. If you try to do this in typical WXGA, of course you get aliasing in the writing on the numbers up here at the top. You know, you've got to run this all the way down. So it's very, very difficult. So the bottom line is, and one thing I wanted to point out is, you know, you take WXGA and try to feed it in, or take 1920 1080 and try to display it in a WXGA window, you get this. We are able to display the original image with our projector, with our scan conversion, and it does work extremely well. So, and you know, this is just kind of sums it up. We take the WX or 1920 1080 or full HD out of the PC, and this is our end result up here at the top versus a traditional projector having to down convert it to WXGA. And all my testing, it's actually, I've been very pleased so far. So the final topic, or just to kind of remind everyone, you know, starting April 1, we do have an advanced program for projectors and panels, and we exchange them within the warranty period. These are the numbers, you know, the 800 numbers, or 800 or pro support at sony.com. If you have any issues with projectors, typically we will have this resolved within 3 to 5 days, and you get another projector. You only have to take your old one down once. You hang the other one up. You send the defective one back to us, and you're done. So this is a very good program. We've been doing it with panels, and now we're doing it with projectors. With panels, it works really, really well, and I don't see any reason. And it's also working well with projectors. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of problems. Anyway, just support information. There's our main website for lasers. The projector semi-calculator is on the website. If you haven't used it, it's a really, really good utility that's out there. And then, of course, there's our information for projector warranty as well as panels. And then finally, if you're curious about who your account manager is in your area, I'll leave this up for just a second to figure out where you live, capture their name or take a picture. Just to let everybody know, I'm in this part of the country where the yellow, dark yellow and brown is. So I have a big area. So usually I'm not home a lot, but now anyway. And then for our friends in the north of the border, we also have Terry and Rose covering the east and west. So with that, if there are any questions.
Hey, Bob, thanks. Yeah, there certainly are questions. Got a couple of reminders just before we jump into the questions with everyone. At the end of the webinar, there'll be a very brief survey. Again, I'd ask that everyone please participate. I think it's only 3 or 4 questions. It helps us to gauge your level of interest in future topics and to continue to make these relevant and of interest to all of you. So look for that. That'll be right at the end of the webinar. I did post a link to the projector calculator, throw distance calculator, in the chat box, and I also posted a link to the archived Tech Tuesday webinars that we've previously done. This one should be up by the end of this week, no later than next Monday, certainly. And as a reminder, the Projector Central event actually runs through the 15th of the month, so one more day for that. So let's dive right into the questions here. We have one from Bob asking for a little bit more detail on the emulation mode. Bob Manis, can you give maybe a deeper dive on emulation mode and what that's all about?
Actually, hi Bob, I'm Bob. Anyway, the best thing to do, if John, do you have his email address?
I do. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Bob, what I will do after the call is I'll email you a document on it, and then if you need be, we can chat about it in more detail.
Okay, great. Next question is from Steve. He asks, can reality creation mode be bypassed?
It can be turned off, yes. There are various different settings, different levels, and it also can be disabled.
Okay. Question from Terry. Does the VPL CWZ10 have HD base T?
It does not. That's probably the one feature that's missing out of it. And that's purely because of cost. We were trying to hit a price point, so that was one thing that was omitted from the factory.
Okay. Question from Chuck. Do I need to use the protocol emulation function if I'm using a control system that supports Crestron connected or Extron XTP certified projectors?
No, you do not. We're pretty much auto sensing now with both manufacturers. So now it's a matter of just plug and play.
And a question from Pat. Do the VPL PHZ12 or VPL CWZ10 come in colors other than white?
They do not. There's just one chassis for the entry-level models, or one color, if you will. Unlike some of our more advanced installation, you can get the white chassis or black chassis depending on the aesthetics of the room.
Okay, we have a couple of review questions here, Bob. Let's start with the easiest one. John asks us if we can go back to the slide with the list prices, or if you can just repeat the list prices.
Those are, oops, let me see here. What can I get out of this? Those are just estimated prices. So I'm assuming they're referring to.
Oh, those are, yeah, okay.
They're kind of estimated. I don't even know that. There we go. Those are kind of estimated prices.
So those are estimated street prices. Our
the best thing,
prices.
I don't know what that's where the account manager slide comes in to get a better pricing. These are kind of guesstimates, if you will, estimated street prices on some of these. That's all this says. To get the actual pricing is contact your dealer or your account manager.
Okay, and Allah asks us if we can go to the slide comparing the advantages, Z10 versus the C12. And,
sure.
Maybe discuss briefly the differences again.
Okay.
The primary differences.
Well, okay, this particular slide, there's really four differences. The new panel, which incorporates the optical compensator within the panel, which is new. We actually originally started doing that when we introduced the VPL PHZ75 and 70 series. So these are new panels for that. Intelligent settings were added to the Z12 that the Z10 did not have. The added support for Extron XTP, and then the dedicated RJ45 for control, as well as HD base T. The Z10 only had one RJ45 for either Ethernet control or HD base T. I hope that answered the question.
And another follow-up question on the advanced exchange.
Okay.
Can you go back to that slide again?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and there was a question asking us to confirm that it is indeed an advanced replacement warranty and not a repair.
It is advanced replacement. The way it has been explained to me by our service group that if the projector is defective within 90 days of receiving it to the, receiving it and installed, you will get a new unit. If it's after 90 days, it could be a new unit or a B stock, depending on how old it is and how many hours the unit defective has. So in other words, if your projector fails and you have 100 hours on that projector, on the laser projector, and you're not going to get a projector with 5,000 hours on it. If we can't give you a replacement B stock unit or repaired unit that has 100 hours or less, you will get a new unit. That's what I've been told by our service group.
Thanks for that clarification, Bob. And there's a question here from, let me go back. Question from Noah. He asks, is there any Crestron DM support in either of these two projectors?
I want to say yes, since we support Crestron in general, but I'm not 100%. That I'll have to verify.
Okay, so Noah, we have your registration information, and Bob will reach out to you directly by email. And let me take one last look here. Question from Leslie asking, so do these introductions mean that the PHZ10 and the PWZ10 are now discontinued?
Yes, they are. My understanding from marketing that we may still have some Z10s in inventory, but for all practical purposes, they're probably all gone. We do have inventory of the Z12 and of the CWZ10 as of Monday.
And of course, as always, talk to your local Sony sales rep or your reseller for sure. Marketing just came in, sent me a side note here, and did confirm there is some inventory on the Z10. There are some inventory on the Z10s remaining. Okay, so I guess it's the PHZ10, right?
PHZ10, yes.
Okay, thank you, Terry. And I believe that those are all the questions for today. Again, a reminder, everyone, please participate in the survey. And as I mentioned at the beginning of today's webinar, today's was the first in a series of 3 new product introductions. Today was the new projectors. Next week, we're going to focus on a new Pro Bravia series introduction. And then the following week will be a new SXRD projector introduction. So everyone, thank you again. I know your time is valuable. I appreciate you spending time, making time for Sony every Tuesday. I look forward to speaking with everyone again on next week's webinar. And until then, everyone, please stay safe and healthy, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.